Hi everyone, it's Chris. Welcome to Firm Consulting Channel, a place where we focus on helping you become the most effective consultant and business professional. And today I would like to talk about something that is crucially important. If you're a management consultant, if you work in banking, if you work in almost any industry, this skill is crucially important, and that is presentation skills. So you may be wondering, what are presentation skills? What is exactly presentation skills? Well, obviously it includes ability to present to an audience, but it also includes things like controlling your body language while you're presenting, controlling your voice, making sure that you are not talking in a monotone voice, that you have a good melody in your voice, that you projecting voice so people can hear you, that you pronounce words well enough that people can understand what you are saying. You don't swallow your words. It also refers to your ability to put together effective PowerPoint presentations that support your presentation if you want to use PowerPoint, and many other elements. So let's talk about presentation skills and how you can be effective at presenting. When I was starting my career as a management consultant, during the first few months of my career, I remember I had to present to a very important client. And the reason I was asked to present, even though I was just business analyst at the time, is because I was the person who was leading important parts of the project. And the project was set in Russia. I was the only Russian-speaking person, and I was the best person to present, but I had no experience presenting in business settings. And I was incredibly terrified. I had no idea where to start from. And I knew that unless I really take it seriously and prepare very well, I will fail. I will not do a good job. So let me share with you steps I took and you can take to become an effective presenter. Steps that took me from being a person who could not present at all, was incredibly terrified, to being an effective presenter and asked to present many times afterwards. So number one, obviously you will have to figure out what you're going to say. The way I did it is I basically wrote down in a Word document structure of the presentation, key things that I need to communicate. Then for each part of the structure, I had bullet points. And under bullet points, I had key things that I need to say, but not written as full sentences, but written as keywords that will remind me what I need to talk about. Then I spent a lot of time just practicing at home alone, practicing to say one part of the structure of my presentation at a time. It was very hard. I did memorize all the keywords that I need to cover, but I did not memorize sentences. And this is a key thing, because if you memorize sentences, you will sound like a robot most likely. This is what happens to most people if they memorize. And if you memorize, people will not be able to connect with you, because there's something going on when you're thinking, when you are talking, when you're forming sentences in real time. Only then the audience can really connect with you. It is incredibly rare when people can memorize and then be incredibly good actor in delivering what they memorized so that the audience can connect with them. So the number one was basically practicing the structure that I written down, each part separately, and then everything together. Once I was able to do that, step number two, incredibly important, you cannot skip it, and it is recording yourself. So I recorded myself with a video camera on my laptop, and I was in shock to see myself on that recording, because I was keep on clapping my hands and I had absolutely no idea that I was doing it. It was so bizarre, because how could I not notice? How could I not hear this annoying sound that I was keep on making with my hands? And because I knew that I was doing it, and the only way I knew is because I recorded myself. Because I knew I was doing it, I was holding one of my hands on my leg, and then there was no way I would be able to clap. And that helped a lot. And this is the biggest thing that I noticed with the video recording. There are other things that you notice. You notice your body language. What do you need to adjust? Is your posture good enough? Is your head high up enough? Do you project confidence to your audience? Do you connect with your audience? All those little things are very, very important. Now, let me share with you a couple of thoughts on structuring your presentation, because that is also very important. So some things that I found working for me were start your presentation with something that creates an emotional connection with your audience. So I remember when I started my presentation was to a very large international insurance company that was a crucial client for my firm, and they wanted to enter Russian market. Well, they were considering to potentially enter Russian market with an offering only for females. And I started my presentation talking about Russian women and how they are different from Western women, in that many women in Russia are actually leaders within their families. And they play a role that usually you're going to notice women play if they are a single parent in a Western household. So I gave examples, and they showed pictures, and they connected to the audience. I told them stories, and they connected with them. So you need to remember that what is the purpose of your presentation? Usually it is for client to make a certain decision. So your entire presentation needs to be geared towards it. The points that you are making needs to be geared towards helping the client to make decision in that meeting so that the project can move forward. If you're using a PowerPoint to help you support your presentation, you need to remember some key things, such as all your subject lines on each slide need to tell a story. So if you just read your subject lines, if you just read titles of your slides, you need to be able to see the story of your presentation. You also need to remember that you are the power and you will make the point. So the PowerPoint there is just a supporting little thing that people can look at to enhance your presentation. It can have pictures, it can have some supporting data, but no little text, nothing that people need to read and try to figure out what are you trying to say. They need to pay attention to you. During the presentation, they need to look at you, they need to connect with you. You are the power and you will make the point. But the presentation is supporting you. The PowerPoint is supporting what you're going to say, and it also serves as reminders of key points that you need to cover. However, try not to look at it too much. Try to look at it as little as possible. Look at the audience. The way you look at the audience, the way it helped me to look at the audience is try to connect with one person at a time. Don't stay too long with one person, but just try to connect with each person in the audience instead of kind of scanning like that while you're talking. For a few seconds, connect with each person and keep that connection. You also need to look at the audience carefully to see how they're reacting. Are you getting through to them? Do they understand you? Do they find your presentation interesting? What is the emotion that you are reading on their faces? It's very important to pay attention and adjust your presentation if you feel things are not going as well as you wanted to. Now, once you recorded yourself a couple of times and you feel that your delivery is quite good, you're proud of what you have in terms of your presentation skills, you can start setting up dry runs. And the way it works is you start with a very friendly audience. Maybe you can start with your mom, your brother, if it is something that is not confidential that you can share with them. If it is something confidential, you have to start with your colleagues at work that you are allowed to share this information with. So maybe you get someone from your level who is your friend, who will not say bad things behind your back if you're still not good enough at presenting, but will be able to give you constructive feedback so that you can improve further. And also you need to practice to present to real people. So this is one of the reasons you have to do dry runs. Videotaping is not enough. So the way I did it when I was preparing for that crucial presentation, which was ironically the first time I was ever presenting to someone, was presenting to this huge client for my firm because of the circumstances of the project. So I remember I started from dry runs with my colleague. He was one level up I was presenting to him, and he was giving me feedback on what I need to improve. Then I presented to a few of my colleagues that are a little bit more senior than me. Well, I was a business analyst, so basically everyone was more senior than me then. So I was presenting to them. They gave me good feedback. They seemed to like it. So then I booked dry run with managing director of the firm for the region, with partners of the firm. Because it was such an important presentation, I had to do the dry run with very senior people, with partners. So the way I did it is every morning for a few days, I booked the biggest boardroom we had, a boardroom we used when you join the firm, and it is an induction, and everyone is there to kind of during first, I think, 2 days, 2 to 4, I don't remember, to learn about the firm, meet heads of different departments and so on. This is also the boardroom we used for important meetings, such as maybe the practice meeting. So it was like the biggest boardroom we had. And the only way I could book it was because I was booking it before business hours. So no one was using it, and I was allowed to use it. And I would stand in that room and practice presenting. Then I presented to partners. It was not that scary because I already by that time presented so many times. I could do that in my sleep. I could do that, wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I will be able to present that presentation. So that went very well. And then on the day of the presentation, I remember we went to meet the client somewhere. We were driving with 2 other partners and my colleague in the car, and we came in. I remember I only had one luxury bag. It was a Burberry bag. I still have it. It's a tiny little bag, very uncomfortable to use. You can barely put your hand inside and out. But I was wearing it because it's the best bag I had, and I wanted to create the right impressions. I was wearing a suit, I was carrying that bag. I came in and I started my presentation. And it was a big table with many senior executives from the client. And one of the executives said, "Hold on, but why do you think a Russian woman would want to buy insurance? Isn't it too expensive?" And I told him, "Well, look at my bag." And everyone started laughing, and it really broke the ice. And everything from that moment went much better. So what I'm trying to say here is look for opportunities to make a joke that will not offend anybody, to make things, to break the ice, to make things flow during the meeting. So try to really connect with people. Don't be afraid. So I remember standing there. I remember it was really long time ago. It was 2007, I think. And I still remember to this day standing in that room, presenting and not being afraid at all. Not being afraid. Because I practiced so many times, I presented to so many people already, and I recorded myself. I could do a good job. And the partners at the meeting were very happy with my presentation, my part of presentation, which was the first, I was starting the presentation. So basically about probably 70% of presentation was done by me. And then the partner came out to talk about financials. And I think one of my colleagues spoke about financial model, and the partner closed the presentation. So this is the process I use to prepare, and I know it works. Highly recommend for you to use it if you need to prepare. And remember that as you become more experienced presenter, you will need to do less and less of that because you will be confident. You don't need to do many dry runs. You don't need to structure your entire presentation. You can just write down some bullets that you need to mention during the presentation, and that is it. And to conclude, let me talk about some body language observations that I wanted to share with you. So here are some things I need you to keep in mind. Number 1, make sure you keep good posture. It's not as hard as you think. There are some exercises you can do. Just Google posture exercises. If you guys want posture exercises, it probably will not be very suitable for our channel, but if you really want them, maybe I can figure out how to record them and for it not to look weird on our channel. But there are very simple posture exercises that you can do. One simple one is just putting a book on your head, on top of your head like that, and you can walk around, you can sit down with the book, just try to do things with the book without book falling, and make sure that when you're putting it on, imagine if someone pulls you up like that from the middle of your head, as if there is a string pulling you up, and this will help you tremendously. Also shoulders back and down, head up, and just make sure that you maintain good posture throughout your presentation. And it's very hard to do unless you do it all the time. So you need to actually practice it before you present so you can overall improve your posture. So during the presentation, your posture can be good. Another key thing is maintaining eye contact. I already mentioned that it's important to connect with different people in the audience and have a genuine, real connection, not just like a robot talking and looking at people with cold eyes. Try to really connect with them, see the emotion, engage in dialogue, let them feel comfortable to ask you questions throughout if that's how you want to present. But make sure that there's a good flow of energy in the room. Another important thing that not many people know is not to use parallel gestures. What is parallel gesture? Basically things like that. When you do the same stuff with your two hands simultaneously. Just use one hand or another hand, but never do the same thing with hands simultaneously. It does not look good. Do not cross your arms like that. It is a defensive position and it will not help you to connect with the audience. Keep your arms open. Also, do not look at your feet or your watch and don't look too much at the screen. And another thing, very important, is your voice. Make sure you're not monotone. Make sure monotone basically when you speak at the same note all the time. It's very boring for people to listen. They cannot pay attention to you that way. So there are specific exercises you can do to keep to have a good melody in your voice. Again, I probably could do videos on it, but it probably will look weird on the channel. So let me know in the comments. If that's something that you guys really want, I will think about how to make it work for that channel. Another thing to keep in mind is that you need to project your voice well. And that's something that I really struggled with when I was doing my MBA. One of the most common things when I speak in class was, "Can you please speak up? We cannot hear you." And I am already speaking at the top of my voice. So I had to do a lot of work to learn how to project my voice so people can hear me. So some of the things to keep in mind is you need to breathe with your stomach. It's called diaphragmatic breathing. And it's very easy to do. You just need to practice. So the way you learn how to do it is just you put one hand on your chest, one hand on your stomach. As you breathe in, feel your hand going up. The one on the stomach. As you breathe out, feel your hand going back in. Breathe in. Your chest must not move. When you were a child, you used to breathe with your stomach. So it's just coming back to what you naturally used to do. When you breathe with your stomach, you will be able to project your voice better. Your voice will sound better. Another little trick with the voice that not many people know is you need to speak when your stomach is coming in. And it is very difficult to do. It is something that you need to learn to do. You need to learn to top up air enough so it is not noticeable to the person who listens to you, but at the same time you have enough air to communicate. So one of the things that I do to learn how to do it is when I do my voice exercises, which I do every single morning. It's about 15 minutes. Every time I do the exercises, while I'm doing exercise, I do not allow myself to do an exercise unless my stomach is coming in. And this way, I'm learning to only speak while my stomach is coming in. So those are some of the quick tips on how to manage your voice. And it is something that you need to practice and work on. It doesn't just happen magically. Yes, some people are more gifted from nature than others, but you can develop a strong communication ability. I can tell you that I was coming from a very low level, and the training that I'm going through really pays off. So what I'm recommending to you really works, and something that I'm using to become a better presenter and communicator. So I hope these ideas will help you become a successful and effective presenter. Please let me know in the comments which ideas you found especially interesting and you want to try out, and which ideas helped you become a better presenter. And please keep in mind that presenting is not a punishment, it is an opportunity to shine, to showcase your credibility, your reliability, your competence, your talent. So don't shy away from opportunities to present. Take them. Even if you fail, you're gonna get better and better. And within 2 weeks, I was an effective presenter, and I created a reputation of someone who is an effective presenter, to the point that in my performance evaluations, my presentation skills were mentioned specifically as one of my strong skills that firm really values. And that's something that I developed very fast following the steps that I shared with you. And if you guys have not seen samples of our advanced training episodes, you have to go to firmsconsulting.com/promo, enter your email address and name, and we're going to send you some sample episodes. If you like our channel, you will be blown away by our advanced training episodes that we have for our loyalty members. And you can actually see the programs we have for our loyalty members on strategytraining.com and strategy training apps. And an example of programs include, for example, how to become a McKinsey partner, done by Kevin Coyne, who used to be co-head of strategy practice at McKinsey worldwide. So you cannot really get someone more well-positioned to teach you how to become a McKinsey partner. Kevin was also heavily involved in recruitment when he was working at New York McKinsey office. So the information that he shares was never shared before. And this is your opportunity to actually get the information that people never hear about. If you're currently at McKinsey and you're trying to become a partner and you're not watching this program, you're missing out. If you are trying to join major consulting firm, be it McKinsey, Deloitte, BCG, Bain, and so on. If you're trying to join a major firm and you're not watching this program, you are missing out so much, because you can avoid so many mistakes. You can grow so much faster, because somebody who used to be a senior partner at McKinsey, co-head of strategy practice worldwide, is sharing with you how to become a successful partner. So that's very rare. We also have program by Bill Matasoni, who used to be head of marketing worldwide for McKinsey, also a senior partner at McKinsey, used to be senior partner at BCG. Unbelievable person, such a smart person, so insightful. We also have a book written by Bill called Marketing Saves the World. Don't be confused with the title. It's very much about strategy. You will learn so much. You will learn why McKinsey overtook BCG. You will learn how to create a sustainable competitive advantage for your company. Make sure that you check out that book, Marketing Saves the World, and Bill's course called The Bill Matasoni Show. And we have many other courses like that. So take a look, strategytraining.com, and if you want the sample episode, go to firmsconsulting.com/promo and enter your details. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments which videos you would like to see from us. And I loved spending this time with you. Stay focused, stay productive, do good things for the world. And I'm looking forward to see you next time.